Hello guys, it's Amanda and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today we are doing the annual mid-year freakout tag. So let's get right into it. Today it is such a dark and gloomy and rainy day, so I just thought it was a perfect day to cozy up inside and talk about books because that is what we do best here. I've been doing this tag every year since I started my channel. I'm really excited to talk about books and do this tag, so why don't we just get started? So I have my notebook here with all the questions on it. This year, so far, I have read a total of 13 books. That is very low for me. This year has just been, I think, kind of just a slumpy kind of a year of reading for me so far. Last year's total at this point was 17 books. I'm never gonna say like quantity is better than quality. I'm always quality over quantity. I am a little lower than usual. I put my goal every year to be at 30 books read every single year. It fluctuates throughout the year. Sometimes I've made it to 35, but I know like 30 is my good area to aim for every year. So anyway, let's get on to question number 1. So the first question is, what is the best book you have read so far this year? The best book I've read this year by far has to be The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This was my first time reading it and I was blown away. There's no doubt in my mind that I will read it again at some point, and I just loved how beautifully tragic it was, and it was gorgeous, and it was gorgeous, it was off-putting, it was scary. I just loved Sylvia Plath's prose and writing. I love Sylvia Plath as a writer. I loved this semi-autobiographical book so much that I literally filmed an entire short film about it, so if you want to go watch that, it'll be linked up above. This book was definitely the best book I've read so far this year. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I have been slowly reading everything Sylvia Plath ever since. So the second question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far this year? This year I have not read any sequels, but I have read the last book in the Emily Wilde series. I put this as my answer last year. So this is technically not a sequel, but this is the only book in a series that I have read this year, and that is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This was the third and final book in the Emily Wilde series. I did an entire review on all 3 books, non-spoiler, a couple months ago, so I'll also leave that up above. Yeah, I really loved how this series was tied up in a little bow. I really love just a really good trilogy. Sometimes I feel like with series, they either go on too long and books tend to get slower and we lose like the whole point of why we're reading this series. But I really think either a really good standalone or a really good trilogy for a story, I think that's the best. I have read a couple of really great duologies, but I really love trilogies. Those are my thoughts. Number 4 is, what is the most anticipated book? So what's the most anticipated book that I plan on reading this year? This isn't technically a new book, but I just received the beautiful 100th edition. I was gonna say anniversary and edition. 100th anniversary edition of The Great Gatsby. I just got it yesterday, and this is a beautiful pink cover and it's annotated. So I've already read The Great Gatsby, but this version I am so excited to start reading. But I really love The Great Gatsby, and I just read it for the first time earlier this year also, so I really want to read it again, but with the annotated version. But I think this is just such a stunning book. Like, it is pink. That's probably why I love it so much, but I cannot wait to dive in and to get into all the beautiful pictures and the background knowledge of actual history of the time and everything about the 20s. I love. Number 5 is, what was the biggest disappointment? I wouldn't necessarily call this a disappointment, but biggest disappointment was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I have a special relationship with The Graveyard Book. The Graveyard Book was one of the very first things that got me into my love of horror when I was 6, 7. That and Coraline, also by Neil Gaiman. So I realized I never read the entire book of The Graveyard Book because I was young and I just remember reading it, but I realized that I never really finished it. So this year I wanted to fully read it and to fully go back into my childhood and nostalgia of it. But of course the disappointment part of that is of course Neil Gaiman. So I am a big advocate of loving the art, not the artist. The same goes with Harry Potter, and we all know that. I will always love the works of art Neil Gaiman has made, and I will always love Coraline, I will always love The Graveyard Book, and so on and so forth. Do I love the man anymore? No. And the same goes with Harry Potter. I love the world of Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling made a beautiful world that has made so many children grow up in this world and has given the children the love of reading everything, and I'm one of them. Do we like the artist anymore? No. We have to separate the art from the artist, and I am a strong advocate for that in these times of new things coming out of the woodworks. I don't want to get into it, but if you know, you know. So the sixth question here is, what is the biggest surprise you had this year? The biggest surprise I had this year was reading the Eras Tour book by Taylor Swift. The biggest surprise, like in general for me this year, was becoming a Swiftie. Never in a million years did I think I would go this hard into being a Swiftie, and here I am. I love Taylor Swift. I spoke about this in a couple of vlogs ago, but I have always loved Taylor Swift, and like when she first came out, I never knew who she was, but I always loved the songs. So I was one of those Swifties that loved her songs but didn't know who was singing it. As the Eras Tour book came out and as the Eras Tour was happening, I slowly grew more in love with her and what she stands for. And since February, I've been hardcore Swiftie. So I'm very proud to say that now, and I'm very happy to be a part of this community. The biggest surprise of the year of reading that book and fully immersing myself in her world. And honestly, I said this before, but since listening to her music and to listening her talk and just perform and everything, my creativity, my own creative drive, and my own performing journey has significantly changed. I have more of a spark with listening to her. I love it. I'm a full-blown Swiftie now. So that's my biggest surprise of the year. Who is your new favorite author? For this year, I think it's definitely Mona Awad. I read Bunny in the beginning of the year, and I was blown away by how beautifully effed up it was. And that was my first Mona Awad book. I plan to read the rest of her books because I loved it and I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and I did not expect that, and I really loved it. So this year, I think Mona Awad is definitely my new favorite author. Number 8 is always my favorite one, and that is, who is your newest fictional crush? It has to be Jay Gatsby. I'm telling you, when he says old sport, that's all I'm gonna say. Number 9 is, who is your newest favorite character? I would say Samantha and Bunny. Number 10, what is a book that made you cry? So for this one, I put Life Short, Talk Fast. This is 15 writers on how Gilmore Girls has pretty much changed everything for us. I really loved this book. So it's 15 authors writing 15 different essays on how Gilmore Girls has changed their life in some way. I feel that because Gilmore Girls definitely changed my life in some way, me and my mother's lives, and I really relate to that with such a strong bond I have with my mother and my grandmother. This book, I definitely cried at a few of the essays. Some of the essays I didn't really connect with, and that's normal, that's fine. Everyone has their different opinion. Yeah, some of them I really did cry about. One of the last ones was focusing on Rory's love of books and how the love of books completely changes a person's world, and like it goes way deeper than that, but like that one kicked me in the heart. So that's definitely the one I cried at this year. Number 11 is, what is a book that made you happy? A book that I actually just read last night. I read The Flower Fairies of the Spring and The Flower Fairies of the Summer. I grew up with these books and I wanted to reread them, and honestly, I don't think I ever read them actually. My mother and I are big fairy lovers. We love fairies. I grew up on Tinkerbell. I was a full hardcore fairy fan, and I still am to this day. So I just remember having this artwork all over my childhood. I didn't realize that there was actual poems and poetry to it. So I just started to read them this year, and I read The Flower Fairies of Spring and Summer, and I am so in love with it. It just makes me feel so happy and so connected to my inner child and just the beautiful, wondrous beauty of fairies and fae lore, and that makes me really happy. Number 12, what is the most beautiful book you've bought this year? Again, I have to bring up Gatsby. I have the original cover and the original version of Great Gatsby, but I just got this version and I just think it's stunning. Like, I think it's so pretty and simplistic, and it's pink. Even the beautiful illustrations and things inside is gorgeous too. So I think that's the most beautiful book I bought this year. And finally, number 13, what are the books that you want to read for the rest of the year? So I have 3. I put 3 down. One is Invisible Strings, 113 Poets Respond to the Songs of Taylor Swift. When I saw that this was a thing, I knew I really needed it, and I knew I needed to read it. I love poetry and I love Taylor Swift. And we love how Taylor Swift's writing is so similar to poetry. It is poetry. Songs are poetry. And I would really love to dive into this. Each poem is a response to one of Taylor's songs. And the thing is, they don't tell us which song it's based off of. So it's like a whole decoding mystery, as Taylor loves to do. And I just cannot wait to dive into that. Another book I want to read is actually one I'm halfway through of right now, and that is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. I've heard so many people gush over this book and like rave over this book. I have only read about 60 pages of it, and all I can say is, whoa. That is some deep shit that I'm all about. I have my sticky notes, my page flags, and it's like already covered, so I can't wait to finish that. And the third book is like one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and that is V. Schwab's new book, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. V. Schwab, I absolutely love her books. I have a whole shrine to her books right here. I loved Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I loved the entire Darker Shades of Magic series, and I really loved Gallant. Still to this day, she is my favorite author, my favorite modern author. I love her writing. Each book I've read of hers has made me cry and like made me feel so many feelings that I know her writing is the best, and I love her books. Every single one of her books I've given was a 5-star, so I'm so excited for her new book. And I've heard very little about it, but I think it's a sapphic romance, but I'm not sure. I know there might be something vampires about it, but again, I don't know anything, so do not quote me. I may be wrong. The cover of it looks really, really cool, and I'm really excited for it. So that is the 2025 version of my mid-year freakout tag. I am so happy that I did this. I love doing this every single year, and it's a great tool to like really like look at where you are in the year and where your reading goals are, and to see how much you've read and to see what more you want to read this year, and to really look at your reading goals and to hone in on what you want to get done for that year, and to really read some amazing literature. That is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can watch all my previous freakout tags. I will have them linked up above. Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified every single time that I upload. I upload every single week. And if you want to find me anywhere else for more bookish content like this, you can find me on Instagram, GoodReads, Pinterest, and in between the pages of a book. And as always, remember to be the Captain Jack Sparrow of your story, and may your compass lead you to amazing things. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys, happy reading.